Hey, welcome back to our channels. Thank y'all for tapping in. Today, we're going over Quant and the Universal Payments Channel update. Y'all want to stick around for this. Thank y'all for tapping in. And if you find value in this, hit the like button for us, hit the subscribe button. Maximus, what do you have to tell the people?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
How would you like to earn an extra $100, $200, or even $500 a day, even more than that? I have many friends that are earning money every single day trading futures on BTCC. It's a simple process, and even if you don't want to learn how to trade, you could follow a trader on the site and let him do the trading for you. So even if you don't know how to trade, there is a way to make money. But I suggest learn how to trade. Earn you some extra money on BTCC. It's easy, you don't have to KYC, and you don't have to use a virtual private network VPN. This is a wonderful site. They've been around since 2011. Give them a shot. Also, when you earn that extra money, you can store that on your Decent wallet. The Decent wallet was not affected by the recent XRPL debacle, where the backdoor of many wallets was open and there was a breach. So Decent wallet was not affected by that. Decent wallet is as safe as you keep your seed phrase. It's a wonderful product, and you can get the discount by using the link. It's the only way to get the affiliate discount, and that is to use an affiliate link. So that link is popping up on the upper right side of your screen, and it is the one that you will use. You will also get free shipping. Pick you up a Decent wallet today. Secure your assets. If you don't have them stored in a wallet and sitting on an exchange, then you're at risk. So pick you one up today. Thank you. Well, it's been a while since we've done a collaboration, but so glad to be back with Channing. And with that said, yeah, we're going to get into this. This is a big update that people aren't aware of, so we're just going to jump right into the material. First thing is from the Quant Network. Literally posted, I believe, on the 21st, and there's another update that just came out, I believe, yesterday. So we're going to share that with you guys. And in the process of doing so, do a little back and forth conversation, obviously, with Channing. So for one, let's zoom in on this. Quant Network announced banking's $4.7 trillion problem, why programmable money is the infrastructure solution. And I won't necessarily read the whole thing here, but what I do like mention here is they address what's trapped, right? And this is the highlight. So I wish I could make this bigger. It just makes the screen look funky. 4.7 trillion trapped daily inefficient payment processes globally. The financial industry is reaching a critical inflection point. For decades, money has operated as a static tool. You send it, receive it, and the process ends there. All right. So they had a report, and you guys are more than welcome to nerd it out with this, but it says it's all about automation, right? So it says here that you have to have a solution. And it says traditional financial institutions still rely on manual processes that consume 23% of operational budgets. All right, well, again, what about having an all-in-one solution, right? You know where we're going with this. Obviously, the Quant Network. Channy and I have talked numerous times about the shift, or the shift of the switch, as the saying goes. Look at this. This shift is monumental as the rise of the internet, only this time it's the flow of money that's being reimagined. Well, how's Quant tackling that? Well, for one, they're reimagining payments. So I don't want to give you guys so much a history lesson on what happened in the last 60 years. I think you guys get that for the most part. But what I do like here is they recognize that it's not just about accomplishing the basic stuff that we already know, but instead of just moving value from point A to point B, programmable money can automate the entire process. This is not a minor upgrade, it's reimagining what money can do. Imagine money that speaks a language. I mean, does that not sound familiar, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, think about it. What Swift tried to accomplish, and now they've gone from MT messaging to MX. But how does Quant be original? So for one, it says money that can carry instructions such as pay when goods are delivered, split this payment automatically across accounts, execute only if conditions are met. This is what programmability enables, and it opens the door to efficiencies and financial automation we've never seen before. They talk about the future of programmable money. We're going to address that for a second. They developed Quant Flow to make this vision real. Quant Flow is a modular, bank-grade programmable money engine. Think about that right there. Designed to work directly with existing financial, infrastructure. So we know about PayScript. We cover this in a few deep dives, but the area I want you guys to focus on is, like it says here, not just the architecture that allows banks, businesses, and consumers to integrate this programmability, but where it says real world applications. Okay. So for one, on the bottom, second to bottom, small, medium enterprises, because that's what SME stands for, automated tax management and working capital optimization, free up time and unlock cash trapped in inefficient processes. I mean, if you think about it, I'll come back in the frame for a second, like Doge, right? Department of Governmental Efficiency was always trying to, reference the wasteful spending or what was been trapped. I mean, I know it sounds like a stretch, but think about this. It's like, well, why don't you just have a platform that's going to solve it? If it can solve it for banks, it can solve it for governments, all right? And maybe we start seeing more about that. The other thing I want to jump into before kicking over to Channing is, like it says here, corporates and banks intraday liquidity management, tokenized deposit settlement, and bond tokenization deliver unprecedented efficiency to treasury and capital markets. By the time we get to the end of this outline, you're going to see how it all came into fruition in the particular updates. All right, just briefly, this is probably the main highlight, at least for this section. People do ask the benefits of Quant Flow, other than obviously what we shared in the recent deep dives. So as you see here, it mentions specifically those benefits. They are clear. Reduce settlement risk through atomic transactions. When we move forward with Quant, we should always reference atomic transactions, because for one, 30 to 50% lower operational costs via automated processes. This is why Quant should definitely stand out in this regard. Improve liquidity management, real-time optimization, 75% faster regulatory compliance reporting, new revenue opportunities from programmable payment services, bridging traditional rails, tokenized money markets. Quant Flow also future-proofs banks as the industry pivots toward digital assets. And by the way, they do it in their own way. Okay, so before we get right into the nitty-gritty with obviously Channing, I want to finish with this statement from the update. Just as the internet transformed the flow of information, programmable money will transform the flow of value. So here's the next area that we're going to pause on. And again, this is the evolution of interbank settlement from real-time gross settlements to programmable infrastructure. Now, this is where Channing's going to chime in, because Channing, the way I look at it is, our brother in the space, Jesse, over Apex Crypto Consulting. He's done an excellent job, obviously, teaming up with us. We've done it in the past. He's always pointed out, even myself too, that Ripple is your internet of value. Quant is the internet of trust. I originally was not convinced that, Quant was not part of the shared unified ledger. I believe that they're so much bigger than that, with literally Quant at being the overledger. So that said, now it's kind of like we circle back to this topic again, all right, of this, because this update really messes with us, and we're going to get more into that, because if we're going from the evolution of interbank settlement from a real-time gross settlements to programmable infrastructure, then it's like, Quant's like, aha, coming out with some of this stuff. But anyway, I just want to get back to some of the other things, such as this. What do you think about all this? Do you think that they're really going to solve this $4.7 trillion program or problem with their programmable money?
Absolutely, brother. You have to think about it like this. Money sleeps more than it's awake. Money sleeping from 5 p.m. till 9 a.m., holidays and weekends. So anytime it's sleeping, it's not liquid. It can't be proactive. It can't make money. It can't do anything, right? So putting it into a form where it is 24/7 liquidity, 24/7 movement, being alive, that's transacting, that is moving. So then couple that with those same transactions that's been costing you 15% and 20%, depending on how far you were sending it and how much you were sending it, wire transfers and all these fees now being reduced down to, in some cases, like with Hedera, less than a penny per transaction. That same transaction would have cost you, depending on how big that transaction was, thousands of dollars. So it's a huge problem that's being fixed. Think about it like this. The internet has collided with every single industry. It's did it with movies. We went from where we were movie-wise to streaming, and anybody who got in alignment with streaming is doing incredibly well. Anyone who did not get in alignment no longer exists. It did it to the music industry. And if you didn't get into the whole streaming thing, then you slowly fizzled and you died out. The same thing now is happening to money. It's giving the money the capability of streaming. It's giving the money the capability of moving within seconds and setting it to smart contracts, set and forget in some cases. And it's only the natural evolution of where we have been as far as the financial industry to come here now. Like I've said before, we went from cash to cash and check to cash, check, and ATM cards. ATM cards to debit cards. Debit cards had the first swipe, the second swipe, the bigger chip, the smaller chip, the even smaller chip. Now we're at tap to pay. The very next step is you just press a button and it streams without a hiccup. And this is the system that they have been working on methodically in the background for quite some time, that we are now just starting to see the fruits of all of that labor that Gilbert and the team and other projects have been putting in for the past few years. And it is truly going to solve a major problem that they currently face with today's internet, with today's technology. And blockchain or distributed ledger, because we know Hedera is not a blockchain, but with distributed ledger is getting ready to leapfrog. So we're at the catalyst. We're at that inflection point of we've worked on this, and now it's time to show the world we can do it. It's just like what the BTCC did with their 24-hour live trial. And after they did that, what did they announce? Moving their processes onto blockchain. So brother, we are living in a time where we are seeing the fourth industrial revolution truly birthed right in front of our faces. And the players that are making that a reality will greatly benefit from being regulatory compliant and complicit with laws within the jurisdictions and the borders of where they're trying to play at, brother. I kick it back over to you.
We talk about, for example, these things like the terminology, the engines. It's like Quant Network are the mechanics behind the engine. A great mechanic should fix things, right? You don't just necessarily replace it all, but you fix it with something better, and that's clearly what they're doing. And on top of that, taking it where you could turbocharge some of this stuff, save people money, not rack up their bills. They're not a mechanic shop where you take it down to see the mechanic and then they just price gouge you to death, right? Clearly not the case here. Jumping
Think
over
of it like this. I love that real fast.
Yeah.
The fact of being an engine. Think of it like this. Think of the car staying the same, but having the engine rebuilt. And that's essentially what Quant is doing. They have rebuilt and rebuilding the engine to fit today's time.
Yeah, no, that's a great analogy too. I like that. Thanks for injecting that. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to the August 22nd update. So let's pull this up. And as you see here, yes, just roughly 3 days ago, the evolution of interbank settlement from RTGS to programmable infrastructure. Take a look at this for a moment. And as you see here, on the right side, it says, as banks explore digital currencies and tokenized assets, the road to a programmable financial system is not possible. It's increasingly necessary. All right, well then how does Quant solve that problem? Well, basically speaking, they do address some of this. And I wanted to share some of this in that regard. So, for one, they do have a long thing written here. I don't want to just read it all, but basically, they recognize the opportunity. So, they state right here the road to programmable banking obstacles and opportunities. It says, despite its promise, programmability also comes with hurdles, integration with legacy systems, regulatory uncertainty around smart contracts, interoperable across jurisdictions, and cybersecurity risks must all be addressed. How is Quant Network addressing that? Well, they say, moreover, transitioning to programmable infrastructure requires investment in new technology stacks and and talent. Let's face it, everybody, Quant more than has the talent, especially with people like Dr. Luke Riley and obviously Paulo Tasca and et cetera, et cetera. But look at this. Widespread adoption will come from regulatory clarity, interoperable infrastructure, and governance. Once trust is built and incentives align, programmability has the potential to transition from pilot projects to systemic use. Man, right there, before we jump into the RTS section, I'll have you chime in on this one as well, because Channing, the way I look at it is, it's like they're finally giving us little hints and nuggets, as the saying goes, a utility being put into motion. Because before, people recognize, and I'm sure you've seen the outline too, it's like 2021 bull market. In reality, all the previous bull markets, all those markets were speculative markets. Now we're entering to a phase of, clarity. Hence, obviously, the Genius Act, clarity, the utility of the stuff finally being used, which means more liquidity. That's the bottom line. You got the greatest project in the world. If there's no liquidity being poured through it, funneled through it, in this case, interoperating with it all, you have nothing. You have jack diddly squat. So again, jumping back to it, just in case you didn't see it, that statement right there, Channing, potential transition from pilot projects to systemic use. We already did those pilot projects, Channing. We did it with the RLN and the RSN. I think this is the next big step moving forward for Quant, and it's not being mentioned enough. Your thoughts?
Absolutely, they've done the project, those pilot projects, things like Rosalind, things like Agora, the RLN, the RSN, things like Secure Asset Transfer Protocol. All of those things were done so that the powers that be could see that this technology actually works. Now that they are comfortable with the technology that they have slowly and quietly been working on and building out standards around for the past decade, they're comfortable now with the deployment of it. So now we're at the point where the Genius Act, now we're at the point where the Clarity Act, now we're at the point where MiCA can be a reality. Now we're at that point to where we can get global regulation in alignment so that the big boys can securely, safely come and interoperate with this innovative technology that is getting ready to streamline their processes and cut their bottom cost down tremendously in the realm of payments. And that sits across all sectors of payments. But then you can throw things like their supply chains in there, in any other way that these systems, it's not just the money that's programmable, but it's all of blockchain that's programmable. So think about how many different ways that they can utilize this programmability on massive levels in their everyday companies. And it's unfortunate, but with every industrial revolution, this happens, is it affects the human labor because it makes it less essential to the capital and the bottom line of the organization. And it's sad to say, but it comes along with every industrial revolution, and we are literally seeing one being birthed in front of our faces. And the automation and the programmability of this system is getting ready to shake the world as far as the world of finance is concerned. Back over to you, brother.
Well, as far as the world of finance, again, we have talked about real-time gross settlements. So let's finally address that in this update. Let's jump over to it from the Quant Network. And as you see right here, They do address it because they recognize it's all about extending the capabilities of a real-time gross settlement system, aka RTGS. I will read this part, it's good as well. Programmability is the interbank settlement, represents a powerful evolution beyond traditional real-time gross settlement frameworks. It enhances speed, reduces risk, and enables dynamic, logic-driven financial transactions. While banks face significant challenges in reallocating capital and management risk with existing frameworks, programmability offers a long-term solution to reduce costs and improve resilience. I mean, just like us in Quant, let's face it, the OGs, they recognize the long-term solution. Quant is the long-term solution. So, of course, we should at least recognize what they're trying to do to solve problems moving forward. Banks explore digital currencies and tokenized assets. The road to programmable financial system is not only possible, it's increasingly necessary. Again, back to that reference on the right side, and look at this, the Quant advantage. How does Quant solve these problems? So they realize they need to modernize a real-time gross settlement for the digital age. So it's not saying, ladies and gentlemen, that Quant does real-time gross settlements as in you're going to settle with Q&T the token. No, you are modernizing these RTGS platforms. Would we see in the future, like maybe they can even complement like your Ripples and so on, fine tune even something like Ripple, which sounds nuts, but Quant is uniquely positioning itself to help central banks, financial institutions transform their RTGS systems from static, batch-based frameworks into dynamic, programmable infrastructures. With Quant Flow, settlement instructions can be automated with programmable logic, enabling true 24/7 real-time settlement. I mean, if you think about it, that's powerful. Powered by overledger and fusion, Quant can manage counterparty risk via pure, or excuse me, PVP and delivery versus payment settlement across networks. Orchestrate just-in-time liquidity transfers with tokenized deposits, cash flows, and reduce operational complexity by acting as a universal interoperability layer. That's wow. I mean, this is a great update. This eliminates much of the need for reconciliation by keeping records synchronized across platforms with embedded compliance and auditability. By design, QuantFlow ensures that real-time gross settlements modernization is not only efficient but also regulatory grade, paving the way for a more resilient, interoperable, future-proof global payments infrastructure. I think this is how they differentiate themselves from, let's face it, a lot of competition. Now, speaking of that, we're going to get into this clipping because this is good. So, for one, the highlight here again, even though we just kind of shared it, is how Quant is uniquely positioned to help those central banks and those financial institutions to transform the real-time gross settlement systems. All right, now watch this. Taking into this a reminder of a network of blockchain networks. Again, the story of what is referred to as UPC started in 2018. Visa research team, a group of scientists and engineers focused on emerging technologies, began developing a framework for interoperability that would work across different blockchain networks and be independent of underlying blockchain mechanisms. And they refer to it as the Universal Payment Channel Hub. Now, in my opinion, based off these recent updates, this is how this vision that started in 2018 all comes to fruition. Okay, bottom area, UPC hub concept that emerged would connect different blockchain networks by establishing dedicated payment channels between them. Whether that means connecting CBDC networks between countries or connecting CBDC networks with vetted private stablecoin networks. What's going on now, everybody, with stablecoins? Think about that. New trusted blockchains could easily be added to the network of networks. Notice the terminology. Quant is the network of networks. By creating new payment channels within the UPC hub. Shout out to Quant Papa for the visual on this. I've shared this before, actually, in the past. On top of that, I don't think I've ever shared this one, and we're going to get into this. Another great visual from Quant Papa. Taken with a cell phone, gets a little blurry, but we do thank him for the visual. How Visa wants to reinvent the card. Think about what Visa has been doing, not just obviously with Quant Network or Ripple or Stellar or Hedera, but they do want to reinvent the card to become a network of networks. And that terminology, don't ever forget it. Look what it says here. They have, for example, value-added services, net flows. Does this not add up with what we just recently mentioned from Quant Network? Consumer payments, and of course, those foundations. Foundations for what? Maybe a foundation for building on blockchain? Graphic sources from Visa, summary and adaptation. And as you also see here, tap to everything has to have, for example, payment passkey service, pay by bank, Visa Protect for A2A payments, and the bottom part, data tokens. Think about this. I think that is the smoking gun. Data privacy combined with personalized shopping via tokenization. It literally says it right there. So people are still dismissing this. Consumers will receive real-time personalized offers from merchants, AI models, whereas they regain control of their specific data. Now, before I kick it over to Channing, or we can close this out, here's the other part. This might be extra icing on the cake. If you go to the Bank for International Settlements, again, shout out to Quant Papa for this one. I can't take full credit. If you go to Bank for International Settlements website and you type in ODAP, search one of one, what do you see here? Just search one of one. Cross-border payments for central bank digital currencies via universal payment channels. I'll say it again. Cross-border payments for central bank digital currencies via universal payment channels. And look what it says here. Back in 2021, August of 2021, so literally 4 years ago, the Internet Engineering Task Force, the IETF, work in progress proposals for blockchain interoperability and digital asset protocol, the ODAP. Now watch this. Just in case you think the United States government has still nothing to do with Quant, which is a bunch of malarkey, cited from the reference of altcoinbuzz.io, finance and funding, the United States government willing to participate in Quant Network for MIT ODAP. Quant is one project in the blockchain space that exhibits insane potential. In an interview that aired then, Quant CEO, as Gilbert Verdian, revealed that the scope of the project has been extended in collaboration with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Yeah, we've been there and done that, but people forget the terminology here. That's also worth pointing out. All right, how about this? From the Quant Network, and if anything, this might have been scrubbed by now. I don't know. Can overledger connect to any blockchain? It says, yes, if you would like to connect to a blockchain not currently supported, contact us. And on top of that, what about overledger flows, bridge flow, token bridge for tokens? And as you see here, that's where it came from originally. So to me, all of this is there. That is so more than worth pointing out. And even on this area where it says overledger bridge, I know it's not highlighted, the overledger bridge creates a secure connection between two supported networks so you can transfer QuantFlex tokens between those networks. We make this complex process simple and transparent since you can track the tokens at every stage. So, I mean, it's all here. It's all there for everybody. Your closing thoughts in regard to all of it and the recent update, Mr. Channing.
Brother, wow. Okay, so think about it like this. Going to the very first part, which was the real-time, the RTGS systems, okay? Think about it. What was that? That was Project Meridian. That was all of those central banks, RTGS systems interoperating. Who was a major part of Project Meridian? Quant. And this is not speculation. This is straight from, I believe, Tom Mutton from the Bank of England's mouth himself.
Well said, Channing. And we're going to close that out with what he just mentioned. So, guys, it's been a pleasure to be back with Channing with these collaborations. We have another one coming up, obviously, for our Hedera outline. So if Hedera is your thing, be out on the lookout for that tomorrow. And as the saying goes, if you listen to the entire outline, do us a solid, just gives us some feedback if you listen to the entire thing, because sometimes people click out of these videos within 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and so on. But here's your code word if you listen to the whole thing, and that is universal, as in universal payment channel update. And we'll know that you listened to the entire thing. So on behalf of myself and the one and only King Channing, who'd be followed over at King Channing, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps flood 110%. We'll see you guys on the next one.